Hello! Welcome to ACAN practice for English composition. Today I'm going to be talking to you a little bit about writing. I know writing in English is difficult because the spelling is very tricky sometimes. English grammar is very different from Japanese grammar. So today I'll give you a few tips that you can think about while or before you're writing your essay on the ACAN. Today, during the writing sample, I'll be focusing on ACAN Grade 1. However, these tips are useful for all levels of ACAN. So whether you are ACAN Grade 5 or ACAN Grade 1, I hope that you can use some of these writing tips when you're writing. In English class as well, not just on the ACAN. All right. First tip, follow the rules that the test gives you. If you are taking a lower level test, if you're taking grade 2 or grade pre-second, then use the words that they offer as suggestions. They will usually have a couple of words that they give you to help you think about your answer. This is not mandatory, but it could help you start your answer. Of course, if you don't understand those words, don't use them. If there's a difficult word like globalization and you think, what does globalization mean? Then don't use that word and put it in your own words instead. Next, very important, be consistent. Use the same tense. If you're using present tense, continue to use the present tense until it makes sense to change to the past tense. If you're using future tense, keep it consistent. Of course, in English, we do change tenses, but make sure that change makes sense. Don't say, I read a book and walked to the store yesterday. I read a book and walked to the store yesterday. Also, be consistent with your transitions. If you say first, say second. Then you can say third if you have a third reason as well. And also, answer the question. Be consistent. Answer the question. Don't start talking about something that is completely unrelated to the question. You don't have that many words to write, and you don't have that much time. If you start to go off on a tangent, you won't have time to finish your answer. Next, don't repeat yourself too often unless you can't avoid it. Try to think of synonyms that you can use instead. Instead of saying, oh, I went to the big store and saw the big dog and ate a big hamburger, say, I went to a large store and saw a huge dog and ate an enormous hamburger. So try to think of synonyms that you can use instead. Next tip, use specific examples. Don't be vague in your answer. Don't say, I like winter because it is good. That's not an answer. I like winter because it is great and we can go skiing and snowboarding, and I like cold weather and I can drink hot chocolate. So be as specific as you can. Try to think of specific examples. They can be related to your own life or to the world, what's happening in the world today. So try to think of as many specific examples as you can. Next, if the question is asking for your opinion, choose one side and stick to it. If you argue both sides, your argument will be weaker. So make sure that you focus on one side. For example, if the question is, do you like cats or dogs? Don't say, oh, I like cats because they are cute, but I like dogs because they have energy. You try to focus on one side. Say, I like cats because... So keep to one opinion. Next, if you try your hardest, you're writing, you're reading the question, and you don't understand a word, use context clues. Try to figure out the meaning of that word from the words around it. If I say, I ate an enormous pizza, and you don't know what the word enormous means. You know pizza is food, so enormous is an adjective describing food. Maybe it's big, maybe it's small, but at least you know it's an adjective. It's something describing food. Enormous means very, very big. So use context clues and try to figure out the meaning. If you still don't know, make your best guess and answer the question to the best of your ability. On tests, never give up. Even if you don't understand anything, just write, just try. Don't leave the test blank. So do your best. Use formal language because you're taking a test. So don't say, yo, I was at the store, it was cool, I had a super awesome, supercalifragilisticexpialidocious time. Don't use cool language. Don't use slang. Don't use casual language. Keep it formal. The more formal you can be, the safer you are in the test-taking scenario. Of course, sometimes casual language is okay, but be careful. Don't write "cause" instead of "because." All right. For your conclusion, don't just repeat your introduction word for word. If you said, I like cats because they are cute, don't say at the end, that is the reason I like cats, because they are cute. Even that was changing it a little bit. But don't keep the exact sentence in your introduction and your conclusion. Make sure you're using the same ideas, the same opinions that you had in the introduction, but add something new. Continue to support your argument, but make it interesting. And finally, my last tip, practice, practice, practice. I will show you, in a second, I will show you the example paragraph that the ACAN people, the people who are in charge of ACAN have decided this is a great paragraph to use. I will also be giving you my example that I wrote, but you should be finding ACAN tests online, finding example questions, and answering those questions. Then edit them. See if you can find an English native speaker who can help you, or ask a friend, ask a teacher, try to find the mistakes that you made and fix them. All right, so those are my tips for any of the ACAN writing. A lot of times these tips also work for speaking because we use a lot of the same skills in interview questions that we do when writing an essay, but of course essays can be longer, you have more time to think. So I hope that these tips were helpful. Now I'm going to go to the test, to the sample test, and read you the English composition question and the example answer, and then my answer. As I said, this is specifically for ACAN Grade 1, but hopefully, even if you're taking a lower level ACAN test, you'll still be able to get some information. So, the topic is a worldwide ban on weapons of mass destruction an attainable goal? And the rules are: write an essay on the given topic. Give 3 reasons to support your answer. Structure is introduction, main body, and conclusion. Suggested length 200 to 240 words. And write your essay in the space provided on side B of your answer sheet. So, the example answer. Weapons of mass destruction, such as nuclear warheads and lethal biological pathogens, are a major threat to human survival. Unfortunately, military strategies and the current political climate make a ban unlikely to take hold in every country around the world. Of all weapons of mass destruction, nuclear weapons may have the greatest potential for devastation. Unfortunately, the Cold War era view of nuclear weapons as a deterrent against large-scale attacks is still prevalent today. Although countries that possess these weapons may not intend to use them, they believe giving them up would compromise their national security. While treaties prohibiting biological and chemical weapons exist, there will always be nations that do not participate. This is largely because some countries continue to possess nuclear weapons. While nuclear weapons are too expensive for many countries to develop, biological and chemical weapons are more accessible. These countries, therefore, stockpile them to counter nuclear threats. Finally, there is the current nationalistic stance of certain countries. The United States and Russia, which possess thousands of nuclear weapons and are extremely influential globally, have indicated they will augment their nuclear arsenals. As powerful nations such as these fixate on protecting their own interests at any cost, nuclear weapons will become more prominent. Sadly, weapons of mass destruction seem to have as large a role as ever on the world stage. As long as the nations that possess them view them in the current light, an effective worldwide ban is unlikely. Now, my answer is actually similar to this answer. It's hard with such to me, a concrete question like this. It's hard to think of things that are really out of the box. Of course, on your essay, it will be a new question. But for me, I did not read this answer beforehand, so any similarities are purely accidental. All right, so my answer to the question is a worldwide ban on weapons of mass destruction an achievable goal. Unfortunately, based on recent history and current events, I do not believe that a worldwide ban on weapons of mass destruction is an achievable goal. At the moment, there is too much negative tension between developed countries, and countries do not feel safe without these powerful weapons at their disposal. My reasons are as follows. First, the Cold War between the Soviet Union and the United States ended with the fall of the Berlin Wall in 1989. Which was only 30 years ago. Since then, relations between those countries have improved, but the idea of an arms race has stuck with many governments. The leaders of developed countries believe that they need to stockpile weapons of mass destruction in case another Cold War breaks out that turns into a hot war. Second, as for developing countries, if they have the resources to afford a weapon of mass destruction, they believe that it will place them on the global stage and can intimidate their rivals. Having weapons of mass destruction is a status symbol to many countries and shows that these countries are threats, even if their economy and their social standing is not strong. Therefore, while it is an unfortunate situation, I believe that weapons of mass destruction will never be outlawed, at least not in the near future. Countries need these weapons to feel safe, even though if these weapons are ever used, it could easily lead to World War III and the destruction of life as we know it. As international citizens, I believe that it is our job to brainstorm alternate possibilities But until those possibilities become a reality, weapons of mass destruction will remain in effect. That's my answer. You might have noticed I only used 2 reasons instead of 3 as the question required. And that's because, like I said, when I went back, when I read through, some of my answers were too similar to the essay. However, when you're writing, if the test asks for 3 reasons, of course, you should use 3 reasons. If it says between 2 and 3 reasons, I usually prefer using 2 reasons because then both reasons are going to be stronger than if you tried to throw in a 3rd reason. All right, that is my small video about English composition in the ACAN Grade 1 exam. But as I said, a lot of these things can be applied for the other ACAN tests as well. Good luck on your ACAN exams with the writing portion. I know it's difficult, and I hope that you do your best. Definitely watch this video again if you have any other questions. All right, I'll talk to you later. Bye.